The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
I am back, and you are comfortably zoned with me, the Zig-Zag Man, in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco, and across the moat from Oakland, California. So it's a great place to be. It's Monday, July 23rd. I've got two terrific segments. In the first one, it's the Bronx Roots, two guys that I get to talk to on a regular basis, Michael Preminger and David Hubler. And you'll enjoy that one as I did talking to them. And in the second segment, Golenbock University, I got to talk to Peter last night. And this is a terrific offering. So sit back, enjoy. Let me know on Facebook how you like it. If you like it a lot, and even if you don't, do me a solid. Do me a real favor. Box up some gently used, or even new children's books, and take them to the Head Start program wherever you live. Kids need to read. They need to develop an imagination. They need to be school ready. They need to get their noses out of the devices. And the kids that benefit from the Head Start program need to read the most. So get them some books, get neighborhood drives going, whatever it takes to get children reading. It really makes all the difference. If you'll do that, it would be terrific. And pass the word on to your friends about this show. And have a great day. Continue to listen and enjoy. This is a good one. We are back. Bronx Roots. Mike Preminger, Dave Hubler. Dave, I never called you that before.
No, no one
really,
does.
I never called you Mike before. It's been Michael and David.
No, that's all right.
All right. Welcome
Mike's
back,
okay.
guys. I'm Ralph Tyko, the honorary member of the Bronx Roots. My grandparents were from the Bronx, and I spent the better part of my youth, my real young youth. The first 5 years, my parents traveled a lot. My father was a diamond dealer, went to Europe, mostly England, same England that David lived in later in the 50s. But while
60s, late 60s into the 70s.
Oh, okay. I was there early. I'd go with them on several summers. We'd stay at the Cumberland Hotel right across from Hyde Park.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a wonderful city. I got to tell you, I remember why you fell in love with it.
Yep.
Michael, I have a surprise for you.
Yes.
And this is something I found on the internet, and I'm going to push a little button, and you get to hear a fella by the name of Norm Crosby first. And
oh, yeah, and on Norm Crosby's Comedy Shop.
Yes, he's introducing the man himself, Mike Preminger. Here we go. Whoop.
That's the applause.
Thank you very much. Here's a guy you've seen on all the talk shows. Let's make him feel warm and welcome here on the Comedy Shop. A nice hello, everybody, for Mike Preminger. We have some celebrities here tonight in the back.
from the movie The Swarm, 3 of the Bees. How you doing? I love those bees. Do you know that they had auditions in Hollywood for that movie? Millions of bees from all over the country were flying in with the little lunch pails and those 8x10 glosses that they carry. And of course, bees can't call their agents because they have little hands and the phone keeps falling off their shoulder. So they're all unemployed. See, animals are great. I recently read a survey, found out that monkeys on marijuana drive as poorly as monkeys who are not on marijuana. And then people go, he's such a nice guy, he wouldn't hurt a fly. You know, could you hurt a fly? You could kill a fly. But you don't say, hold it, I'll get a little hammer and hit it in the foot, you know. You know that flies only live 3 days? It's true. In the first day they have to get married, divorce, go to school, get a PhD, get a job, lose the job. That's why flies have no time to sit around at the pool sunning with little glasses on. Or put ointment on their nose. You've heard of a fly in ointment, but no ointment on flies. That's why they call them flies. Otherwise they call them sit or jog, but they call them flies because they run around the place. Flies, move. Now, remember the book Jonathan Livingston Seagull? That was about a bird getting its head together. Have you ever looked at a seagull really close? Smallest head in the world. What the heck does a seagull have to worry about? I go up, I go down, I land on my tushy, I hide behind a rock. That's it for a seagull. See, I myself as a child was abandoned by wolves and raised by my parents. It's weird. And I love going out in the air. Do you like vacations? Americans are great. They go out in the woods with the logs and the birds and the little fires and the $83,000 van with the quadraphonic Dolby sound so that the bears are coming out at 3 in the morning going, do you have Staying Alive? You know. Elves are running around, get your morning papers. Sparrows are giving traffic reports. And people start planning for vacations 9 months in advance. Like they go, you can't touch those socks. Those are the trip socks. Vacations. I love all that stuff. I love seeing you get good food. Now, in the supermarket, you get nice food. Were you around when they had the supermarket strike? Wasn't it wonderful? People were afraid they were going to run out of stuff. Woman in front of me bought 9 TV guides.
Hey, how do you like that, guys?
Thank you. Hey, that was great. He was funny.
It really was. You are reminiscent of Carlin, little bit of Carlin there, and you have a stage, they call it a stage in comedy, a stage presence, that's beautiful. You're appealing, you appeal to the audience, and you had a smile on your face, and it was
very, very much.
Yeah, thrill for me to hear it earlier in the week, and I couldn't wait to play it right now. 12 Carson.
How did you find it, if I may ask?
I Google, therefore I am. That's my life. If you Google Michael Preminger, and if you Google...
Oh, it came up on...
It didn't come up when I found it
earlier
in the week. I found something else earlier in the week where Soupy Sales introduces you. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, that was the same program. He was like the guest celebrity on that episode.
Oh, okay.
Like
well, this was a Norm Crosby was the host. And it was hard to recognize Soupy Sales because I remember him from the kids show more than anything, and I hadn't seen him as a stand-up.
Right.
But he did excellent work too, and you had your 1970 shirt on with the big lapel.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
And, I saw some recent pictures of you on the Internet. You still have the same mustache, the same shaped mustache. That's your style, like a Jerry Colonna.
Oh, what is a name from the past?
Huh?
I said, that's a name from the past, Jerry Colonna.
Shaved.
Yeah,
like
no, you haven't.
1972 was 73. I haven't shaved a mustache. I'm afraid.
Well,
to know what's under there. Or what
your lip lights
I've
fall
got
off.
is what I'm saying.
I've got a beard, and I know what's under there, so that's why I don't shave. It's not that I'm afraid. It's knowing that's the worst thing. If you're afraid a little bit, well, it could be bad, it could be good. No, I know. I won't shave.
No.
But,
I tried.
So how did you get
year.
that gig? Just out of curiosity, how does tell the audience how comedians go navigate the business they're in? Did you have an agent?
Well, I could say it now because it's so many years later, but I slept with Norm Crosby.
Well, actually, he says he slept with you. So
he's such a liar. That guy. he's such a kidder. Also, we always, whenever we see each other, we argue about, who started,
who made the first move.
Who made the first move? It was.
Okay.
If he wants to take credit, look,
tell the audience,
guy, leave him alone,
comedian,
let him dream.
It's a business. Being a comedian is a business, and you got to monetize it, make sure it's profitable. How did you do it? How did you do it with an agent, or without an agent?
I think it was an agent, and that show was using a lot of comedians.
Okay. And he just got to the gig. Uh-oh. Oh, my God.
What's the matter?
I think we lost Michael.
Oh, he'll call in again.
We didn't lose him, so it's not. I said, oh, my God. I thought I lost both of you. I thought I was disconnected from this side. But now, David, did you know when you guys were friends growing up that Michael was going to be a comedian?
I always thought he leaned toward neurosurgery myself, but yes, I did. He was always very funny. His timing, though, in those days left a lot to be desired because he was always the last one to show up at the basketball courts when we were playing pickup games on a Saturday and Sunday. And we'd see him ambling down the street maybe a half an hour after everybody said we'd meet. And so that sort of became his theme music, so to speak. Anyway, no, he's always been terrific as a comedian.
Okay. Let's talk a second while Mike reconnects about, you mentioned a schoolyard, and not just the Bronx, but New York City itself was when you were a kid growing up, it's just a series of schoolyards, if you look at it that way. And the competition, the basketball competition, basketball is a New York City, inner city game, and it can be played with one ball. 10 kids can be appeased with one basketball. So you could be poor and play the game. You could be rich and play the game. Doesn't matter. But there's something about the hierarchy of basketball in schoolyards. Can you explain that?
Hi, guys.
Yeah, what happened?
For a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was talking and there was no response, and I realized it. So I said, "What was it? Something I said, or as they say, everything I said?"
Well,
anyway, I'm
you're
back.
Divorced. You don't remember what being married that's like being married sometimes. The same thing.
Yes. Anyway, we were talking about the schoolyards in New York, the prevalence of schoolyards, and how we all seem to congregate at them, on them, or in them, on weekends, after school, things like that, maybe. So, Ralph, you were asking me a question about that.
Yes, I was. I was asking you about if it was the same in all schoolyards. It's like a hierarchy of players, and the good ones play, and the ones that wait their turn, you play 3-on-3. The losers sit. There may be 4 or 5 3-on-3 players, 4 or 5 sets of 3 players waiting for the next game. And it was generally, 21, or depending on how.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah. I remember you talk about the ethos of playing the game on the schoolyards and how important it was to all of us. I had an 8th grade, I think it was 8th grade social studies teacher who told us about his experiences with playing on the courts, in the schoolyard courts, and he told us that in his neighborhood, when guys, these are sort of older guys like 17 and 18, when they would come home from a date, like on Friday night, before they went home, they would go to the schoolyard, and they would, with chalk, they put their name down on the right by the basketball court. So the first 6 guys sort of had dibs on the first game. And he said they did this all the time. And I had there was a fellow that lived in I think up the street from me, in my neighborhood, who actually was so fanatic about playing, he would shovel the snow off the courts before anybody got there so that we could play. So, I mean, it's... What about down there by 94, Mike, where you are? Was it like that, too?
It was, where I was, there were older guys. When I say older, I mean I was young, but these guys, I think, were in their 20s.
Could be, yeah.
Who would kind of dominate the one outdoor basketball court there. I just remembered, somewhat older guys. And I think I've told the story that the best day to play in this school, 94, the schoolyard, school 94, was on Christmas morning because all the non-Jews were in church. So we finally got a chance to play. And we played before, but I kid about it. But once, and then after church, they'd show up in their little suits and shoes right to the court. But what I remember again is all the guys and my brother being able to play with some of these older guys. I was always very proud of him. He was a good player.
Oh.
And 80.
I did. Yeah.
80, that's interesting. I know about we would shovel snow, too, up in PS 94, but I never heard of guys putting their names down.
Yeah, well, we didn't do that, but this teacher told me that was in his neighborhood, they did that. I'll tell you something else about playing basketball in the schoolyard. The school, junior high school 80, was shaped like a U, only it had sharp corners, so it was like a block U. And in the center were 2 basketball courts, so you could actually play a full court game in the center. And so you had 2 courts that were normally 3 on a side and sometimes waiting. Interestingly enough, the court closest to the back wall of the schoolyard was considered the better court for some reason. I don't know why. It seemed to be that was the one where people sort of congregated. But I can remember, and this is going to talk about name dropping. I remember playing on the other court because I wasn't particularly good. I could dunk, but I couldn't shoot any other kind of shot. So I remember
you dunking. Yes, of course.
Yes, it was my specialty. They used to block me out of the middle. I couldn't dunk. But I do remember the last time I saw Calvin Klein was at that basketball court. He was standing there waiting to play. And from there, he went on to greater fame off the basketball courts. So
and you had another clothing guy, too, besides Calvin Klein in your neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah, Ralph Lauren.
Ralph Lauren, a.k.a. Ralph Lipschitz.
Or Ralph Lipschitz, as he was known.
Right. And he, from what I didn't know him, but from what I understand, he lived in the apartment building right next to the schoolyard. So, as I've said, we had to watch how we dressed in that neighborhood because these two guys.
Yes.
I
remember him telling me once he didn't like my shorts. I said, "Go away from me."
Yeah. What do you know? What? Yes.
Yeah, get out of here.
Crosby likes my shorts.
I mean, other guys, other guys would, criticize how you played the game. No, these two guys, and the rumor, I have it on good authority from a friend that that Ralph Lauren actually designed the high school basketball uniforms for the team at Clinton. But I can't vouch for that. I can't vouch for that. Maybe at the time he worked best in red and black, but I don't know. What?
Do you think he would have been as successful if he had kept his real name?
Lipschitz?
Perhaps making taluses and yarmulkes. That would probably put.
Yeah, because I always use the kids like, "Honey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get a bottle of Lipschitz cologne." Just
yes.
Doesn't have a big ring to it, does it?
No, it doesn't. No. Or putting your name on the little patch on the back of the jeans, Lipschitz.
Yeah, right. Lipschitz.
Well, some people deserve that. I always thought that was a strange name anyway, because it sounded so much like Lipschitz.
Yeah. Easily confused.
Easily. There's two ways of spelling that. One is the right way, and one is not the right way.
Right. But pronouncing it's Lipschitz. It's always the wrong way. There's no right way to pronounce Lipschitz.
No, that's funny.
All right, so anyway, I was asking you before you were cut off, Mike, tell us, the audience, me, a little bit about the business of being a comedian. You, and it is a business. It's fun, but along the way, there's the dollars and the cents and what have you. So, did you have an agent? Did you have somebody looking after you?
Yeah, I did. I was lucky and unlucky in that a few years after I started, there was an agent who saw me in a club and really liked me and got me a lot of work. He was really behind me, and he got me the Playboy clubs, and then there were clubs in New York, other than the improvisation where you got paid, and there was a club called the Bottom Line where I won't go into, I opened for a lot of really good rock acts, as I say, the first many years, 6-7 years, I was one happy guy because this guy really worked for me and we got along great. And then one night he went to the gym. He was 36 years old and he was working out and dropped dead right on the treadmill.
Wow, really?
And it's weird to say, in all those years, now that happened a long time ago. Let's say, about 40 years ago. And I've never had an agent like that since. So when you ask about how hard, I never was able to get somebody who worked like that for me, who would call clubs and have people come and see me. So it's kind of luck. A story I tell, I was with my wife one day at a party, and this guy I knew came up to me, and he said, my wife knew him too, and he said, how you doing, getting any work? And I said, why are you asking that? You're my agent. It's a true story. True story. That shows you how crazy it can be. I said, you're an agent. What are you doing?
Hey, I have a question about that because I've thought of it. When I go to the dry cleaner, there's a theater across the street that has, in addition to films, they have comedy acts every Saturday, Friday night. And I'm just wondering, when you went around the country on this, who makes the hotel reservations? Who does all that sort of advanced work, as they call it?
Great question.
Often the club will.
Oh.
I know, like Playboy clubs, now this is in the 70s, they will have an arrangement with a hotel.
Uh-huh.
Now, in the 80s, and I had really kind of stopped doing the road by then, but a lot of the clubs, or some of them, I should say, will have rent an apartment somewhere, or will rent an apartment, and for whoever the comics are that week.
Yeah, the comedy condo or something like that.
Comedy condo, exactly.
Right.
Now, if you're a headliner, that's different. You probably, if you're, a name anyway, then you probably make your own arrangement or they make the arrangement for you. But I remember the first hotel, the first place I stayed on the road was in this kind of seedy New Orleans hotel, right out of like a bad 1950s Gothic movie. I walked in, and there's this heavy guy with a crew cut and, eating nuts with little pictures of Jews on them and spitting them out. I'm in the last I walked in and it's like, are you the comedian? Yeah, well, and the room was bad, but I didn't want to complain. It was bad. The only good thing is I met a girl that night and the room was much better that night. But it was just, it was
a groupie.
This guy was going to shoot me. Yeah. But I thought this guy was going to shoot. Where you from? New York. Oh, well, I'll get my rifle. Oh, okay. Thank you. Just run upstairs.
I got that sort of thing when I was in the Air Force, stationed in Texas and what have you. The looks that people would give, a lot of curiosity. I would always think they're wondering where my horns were.
Oh, yeah.
Very common reaction. Very common. Yep.
Yeah, I've spoken to a number of people who, if not being the first Jew they ever knew, the first Jew they ever talked to sometimes, the first Jew they ever had conversations with, kids I met in the Air Force, basic training, and what have you.
Oh, sure.
North Carolina, this, that, and the other thing. They come in. Wow, how do you know?
Well, you could have asked them, do you talk to Jesus? Do you have a conversation with Jesus?
They'll tell you. If they do, people who have conversations with Jesus are not shy about passing on that experience.
No, right. So there's a conversation with a Jew.
Yes.
They may not have seen him.
Hey, why are you the chosen people? I don't see anything to be chosen about. And at the moment, you don't want to be chosen.
Yeah.
Somebody else to ask that question to. So, hey guys, good show as usual. Thank you.
By the way, I just want to, you were talking about Googling Mike, so I Googled Mike, and there's a Michael Preminger, the third apparently, who's an executive director at Harvard. And a leader in business of innovation. I thought, well, gee, Mike, but I saw her picture. It's a woman. It's a woman named Michael Preminger. And she's in Boston.
The plot thickens.
Yes. Are you doing something on the side that we don't know about? The picture doesn't look anything like
and
this.
if you are, Mike, keep it on the side where we don't know about it.
Yeah.
It's best that it's best we don't. Michael, do you know of that name, or did we lose you again? That's possible.
I think we did. Okay, so we'll
get him
sign
back
off
next week.
Yep.
Thank you, David.
Okay.
And Mike/Mike as well. Great show. I enjoy your company on Sunday.
Up there he is to say goodbye.
I don't know what's happening. It just
that's technology in 2018. Thanks for a great show, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're closing it out. Anything? We thought you were gone for good. Anything you want to close with? Anything you want to add to anything you said?
Happy birthday to Leonard Bernstein.
Whoa.
Oh, that's nice. Yes.
Would have been on. And he did the music for On the Waterfront, so that's what I want to close.
And to Nelson Mandela,
thank
who would have
you
been
very, very much. Who?
Nelson Mandela.
Yes. I thought you were going to say Nelson.
Ralph,
Riddle.
thank you for. Ralph?
Yes. Don't have to thank me, Michael.
Thank you for the.
Thank you for providing the talent. How about that?
Oh, you're that's very kind of you. I appreciate it.
All right. Be well, guys. Come back next week, Mike.
Next week. Okay. Bye-bye.
And you too, David.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Okay.
The host is David Hubler, and his co-host is Michael Preminger. I'm Ralph Tyko, the weak link of the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. Adios, everybody. Hey, don't touch that dial. We have Peter Golenbock coming up at you. Stand by. We are back. Golenbock University. I'm Ralph Tyko. Just Peter Golenbock and myself this evening. We're going to be short and quick. It's a beautiful summer night. And how are you, Peter?
Just fine.
Good.
It's very good. The Rays were losing to the Florida Marlins for the third game in a row when Daniel Robertson got up with the bases loaded in the bottom of the ninth and hit a grand slam home run to win the game. It was just stunning. Just stunning.
Very nice.
Yeah.
On my end of the universe, the Oakland A's just won the Bay Bridge Series. And more importantly than that, or more important than that, was the fact that they drew 50,000 people each for each of the three games that they played in Oakland.
Boy, that's stunning.
It is, and we talked about this briefly off the air. Your response was, you win games, people will come out to see you. It's just that simple, wherever you're playing. And they have been an exciting team. They're like 14 games over 500.
Yep.
And who'd have thunk, as they used to say back in New York.
Well, your boy Olsen has been playing great ball.
2 home runs, and there's this. They have Chris Davis, who is so small in stature when you see him, and he's got torque that's incredible.
Yes.
He has incredible power, and it reminds me of the toy cannon from back in the day.
What's so interesting, and people don't quite understand the sort of mechanics of it all, is that the weightlifting that everybody is doing, yes, it contributes greatly to so many injuries. I mean, that's certainly the the bad part of it. But provides you with pitchers who throw 95 miles an hour and little guy hitters who could just hit the ball over the moon. The strength of so many of these major league ball players today is just, it's astounding. It's really what it is, astounding.
Right. I saw a superimposed picture with, it was on MLB TV, so maybe you saw it too. It was a picture of Trout next to Mickey Mantle.
Mm-hmm.
And Mick was a well-built big guy.
He was. Well, he wasn't a big guy. He was about his tall. He was as tall. I was shocked to find out he was no taller than I was. He was 5'10" and a half. But throughout his teen years, he would go to the mines. He was what was known as a screen ape, and he would pound away at the pieces of rock with his sledgehammer. And nobody back then ever lifted weights, and I mean ever. But Mickey Mantle in those mines gained just huge amount of strength from doing that.
His back. I wonder what made Willie Mays strong in much the same way, with this incredible back muscles. And did he do heavy work as a kid?
You know, that's a very, very good question. I don't know the answer to it, but Willie was a very powerful hitter, certainly. Hank Aaron too.
Hank Aaron too, but he was a hitter before we thought of him as a home run hitter. Was Aaron?
Yeah.
And he didn't hit monstrous home runs.
No.
He was like Ernie Banks. He was all wrist, and he flicked the ball over the wall with just enough to get it out. And it helped. The ballparks he played in helped him immensely as compared to where Willie played, for instance.
Yeah.
And he was fortunate enough to play a long time, benefited from the DH at the end, but he did it with style, he did it with class, and it was interesting to see, to get off the subject of baseball, his reaction when they asked Hank Aaron if he would go to the White House. And Hank says, there's really no one in the White House that I'm anxious to see.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that answer quite a bit, given the world situation that we're in. Want to say something to that? It's been almost a week since Helsinki, and there was an incredible wrath of criticism, rightfully so, as to what went down not only at Helsinki but at NATO, at meeting with our allies, and what have you. As a result of that, do you see apathy from the Republicans rearing its ugly head?
Yeah, apathy. I see apathy from the Republicans. The Republicans tremendously benefit from having Donald Trump as the president, no matter how incompetent, goofy, or crazy he is. They're getting things that they want done. And it's going to take something, proof of treason or something of that nature before the Republicans who, are in charge, Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan.
Do you see the dominoes falling in any way with all the indictments of these Russians and the woman spy through the NRA? Do you see hope? Because if
I always have hope. I always have hope. I'm a hopeful person.
Right.
Do I see anything happening in the next 2 weeks? No.
Okay.
Got to be.
Do you see anything happening between now and the midterm elections?
We may very well get Robert Mueller's report, which shows that there's a tremendous amount of crime involved, that Trump is involved with, and collusion and all those other things that he's afraid that they're going to find.
That said, are the Republicans really going to benefit from having Donald Trump in the long run?
Yeah. Well, they'll have a Supreme Court justice in their pocket. That will certainly benefit them. They seem thrilled about this guy.
But he says something, he makes public the idea that he thinks that a president in office, a sitting president, should be immune to prosecution.
Well, you want to get yourself...
How is he going to get approval through Congress with that sort of mindset?
Very easily. Who's going to stop him?
I would hope Democrats would step up.
Democrats, there are not enough Democrats. Not enough Democrats.
I would hope there are enough Republicans that don't want to see Roe v. Wade turned back.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. So far, the Republicans are 0 for 50. Will they be 1 for 51? I don't know. I find it hard to fathom.
Well, getting back to what we were going to talk about, Peter, and that is your college mate, a Dartmouth graduate, Sandy Alderson, who suffered a relapse in a horrible disease. Been forced. I think he's basically retired from the Mets at this point.
Well, I have a feeling, and I hate to say this, but I have a feeling that he's really sick. I mean, he's got a cancer that has returned, and apparently returned rather, strongly. Boy, I hope he's okay. He's been wonderful for this game for a long, long time.
In a number of different capacities. If we think back to the A's,
sure,
he built that team.
He did.
No question about it.
He built the team with Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire.
And about 3 rookies of the year in a row, if I remember it. Walt Weiss being one of them. I guess maybe Canseco and McGuire were the other two. Built a terrific organization. And say what you want about the Mets collapse, and I'm a Mets fan, and I'm hurt and dismayed and all those things.
Yeah, sure.
The injuries. But he led them, he got enough money out of the Wilpons to get them to the World Series in 2015. No small trick.
No small trick at all. And not only that, they were 11-1 at the beginning of this season. Who knew that they were going to fall apart like this?
Right. We can get into the reasons they fell apart, but there is no move that Sandy made over the winter that, including replacing the training and medical staff, that all Met fans weren't. Every move they made, sign Fraser, re-sign Bruce, this, that, and the other thing. We were all delighted they were making these moves.
Absolutely, because Wilpon, lost so much money in that Madoff disaster, investing with the guy who swindled so many people. That for a while,
there are rumors that Wilpons came out okay in bankruptcy court with these people, that they didn't suffer as much as others suffered.
Well, it's all relative, though. I mean, if you suffer enough that you can't afford to put a championship baseball team on the field.
Okay, then
for your fans, that's suffering.
It's New York. If you can't, my feeling is if you, like your owner doesn't want, want to play the game, sell the team to somebody who does.
Yeah, but you can't make them.
Yeah,
but you can't make them. You can't do it. You know, imagine. I mean, I'm just thinking about being a fan of Kansas City A's during the period when the Yankees were, stealing all their good players. Imagine being a fan of Kansas City and having Roger.
Kansas City never had a winning team.
No.
In all the years they were there.
No.
Now I want you to think of the fans in Milwaukee who took the Braves took them in.
Yeah.
They did very well attendance-wise when they moved from Boston. Never had a losing season. And the fans, and I'm not even talking about, the adult fans. I'm talking about the kids who were my age when our age when the Giants and Dodgers left, who were 10, 11, 12, whatever it was, rooting for their team. All of a sudden, it goes. I may have asked you this before about eminent domain. And you said it would never happen in this country. Is there anything, I'm so ignorant about it. Is there anything
eminent domain,
sports teams to be accountable to the fans that support them?
Eminent domain is land. If you want to build a ballpark and somebody's got a piece of land that the government needs to build the ballpark, they'll take the person's land. But you're not gonna get go to court and stop some team from moving if they want to move from eminent domain. That just is not going to happen.
Okay. Well, one can dream about.
Yes, you can.
That. And I do that well. I'm a daydream believer.
Yes, very good.
Peter, anything that in the first half that Tampa Bay notwithstanding, anything that you see in baseball in the first half that particularly stood out to you and that you'd like to comment on?
There is one thing that is beginning to stand out to me, and I'm surprised that I'm having this reaction. And that is the notion that we should go back to putting two fielders to the left of second base and two fielders to the right of second base. They figured out that left-handed batters, when you stick three fielders to the right of second base, will pretty much shut out the left-handed hitters. It just doesn't seem right anymore. The game has lost something of its stature because you're sitting and watching out after out after out so much of the time. And they're talking now about passing a rule saying that you have to have two fielders to the left of second base and two fielders to the right of second base in the infield. And I am slowly coming around to think that that's a very, very good idea.
Okay. You get to see plays made in traditional ways that players have been trained to make plays so that there's a lot more competence there. I've seen a lot of times players hit into the shift, directly into the shift. Players, third baseman may be playing short right field and gets a ball in a manner that he's not used to, with a spin he's not used to, getting off the grass, this, that, and the other thing. And I think it almost becomes a circus sometimes defensively.
Well, if you're rooting for the team that is getting people out with the shift, chances are you don't have much of a complaint about the shift. But it just seems to me... I do have a
complaint that there are so many strikeouts because every game I watch, there seems to be at least one play where I say to myself, this guy made out, but it was a productive out. And it got the guy over, it forced a throw, did something that made for a production that kept the line moving a little bit, got a guy in scoring position. We don't see anywhere near enough of that, what with all the strikeouts. So if I have any complaint with the game, it's that. If I have pardon me?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. And if I have anything I'm loving about the game, it's the athletic ability of these guys playing the infield.
That's for sure.
It's Louis Aparicio on every team. That's how.
Oh yeah.
Ozzie Smith, Louis Aparicio.
The athleticism in baseball is amazing.
Yes.
It is amazing. It's why I go. It's why I go. It's every game something fabulous happens. These players are faster. They're stronger. The only thing is you just ordinarily.
I started to say, if you happen to see that superimposed picture of Trout standing next to Mickey.
Yep.
Not only height-wise, Mickey was big, as was Mays.
Yep.
But Trout's a monster. I mean,
Trout is a monster. Yes, that's right.
And jumping ability is incredible. It's a privilege to watch a guy like that, as it was to watch Willie, Barry Bonds, Wilt, any of the greats. We're very, very lucky. And this game will find a way of carrying on.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely will.
I'm somewhat disappointed that no player who is strongly overplayed has taken the time to adjust his swing to just destroy the shift permanently.
The problem is it's just too hard to do when the guy's throwing the ball 96, 97, and 98 miles an hour. It's just too difficult. That's the problem. It's just too difficult to do.
Yeah, and they've had so many reps on the swing that they're used to taking.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it. It's a very hard game. So it's why we watch. It's a very hard game.
Well, we appreciate it, and
we do.
I'm glad we do.
It's
a short, quick one tonight, Peter, but
yes, sir.
I, as usual, enjoy your company, and we'll be back when we get back.
Wonderful.
Thank you for being here.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
for listening, everybody, and stay healthy. Adios.
Yep, take care.